Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and these are the brand new 2025 Subaru Foresters. It's currently June as I film this. I'm visiting Twin Falls Subaru today, so I'm in town to check out some of their inventory. So I want to do a comparison for you guys on the lowest three trim levels. Currently, we have the base, we have the premium, and then we have the sport. And I've actually already done a full review of these two and a driving review. Currently, as I film this though, only these are public. These will be made public soon. They're otherwise currently on the membership program, just because I can't release everything at once. And then after I film this video, I'll take out the sport and show you guys how that one compares. And if you guys like Subaru, the all-new Forester, or the old Foresters, please consider liking this video. That small act of kindness really goes a long way in helping me know you want to see more stuff like this, but also helps you by having YouTube choose to show you more stuff like this. Thank you. And I will link the dealership below because they do offer everything under MSRP and they ship all over the country. And we're going to start with the cheapest first, which is the base, then the premium, then the sport. But before we start with the brand new 2025 base, let's take a look back at the 2024 base because these are not often found and it's hard to get them in the same spot. So we're going to quickly do a walk around of this one. You can see this one after destination and goodies. It's $29,000 MSRP. This one, $28,500 after discount. And you'll notice a few things up front that I at least want to point out to you guys. For 2022 and newer, all Subaru Foresters got the LED headlights as standard, so these became a top safety pick plus because of that feature, but no front-facing camera, no fog lights, a lot of plastics around it. But for $28,000, can you really complain? It does have the Gen 3 eyesight system, which is just the two cameras, so it's not as good of a view and not as good at pedestrians and bikes as the new system. And you'll notice on the side, you have a Bridgestone tire, which is not my favorite. The tread depth is fairly decent, but it has a steely wheel with a hubcap on top. You have black plastic cladding, black side mirrors, and no roof rails as kind of some of the main exterior differences, as well as huge windows, but when they're not tinted, you really can get a good sense of how big they actually are. And then of course, no power liftgate in the back, but thankfully the shocks do a pretty good job. And you can see when all the seats are down, you have about 74 cubic feet of room. When the back row is up, you have about 29. And no extra protection with rubberized mats or anything over here. And then you still have a spare tire even on the space model, but no visor shade, anything like that, privacy shade. And overall, for $28,000, can you really complain? I don't think so. Overall, it's a pretty good looking package. It's pretty much the bare minimum that you get for about $28,000, but it does include all the Subaru safety features and a few extra options, even has remote start, but it does have the physical key. It doesn't have the proximity key, so no proximity key features there to open it. But the door panels are still pretty nice. Everything interior wise, it's a nice place to be, no sunroof. You even have LED lighting up top though. And then it has a non-leather wrapped wheel with a 6.5-inch screen. I've done a full review of the 2023. Hardly anything changed for 2024 minus the fact that you lost the CD player. And then I did a very impromptu walk around review of this type of vehicle, a base model white Forester, just a month or two ago. But overall, for $28,000, I think it's a pretty good deal. And now just check out the front end of these late 2024 year as we walk away, because these are no longer being assembled. These were all assembled in Japan, as you'll notice. The VIN starts with a J. If something is assembled in the US, its VIN number starts with a 1 or a 4. And for the first year of the 2025 generation, these are also going to be assembled in Japan, which is a win. But next year, they're going to be made in Lafayette, Indiana, after the legacy disappears. So now this is the 2025 Subaru Forester Base. You'll notice it's $31,500. So it's a $3,000 jump over last year's base model. This one does have a few extra options, but overall, each of these jumped up in price about $2,500 compared to the same version of the last one. And notice there's a lot of interesting changes. There's a lot of updates. You have real wheels on this one, a 17-inch with about 10-30 seconds of tread depth on the Yokohama tires. So a better tire, better wheel. Overall looks nicer. You have some cladding right there. You'll notice still LED headlights, no fog lights or anything, slightly different front fascia. In person, it does look better than on camera. I can promise you that. You also have better safety features. You have the wide view, third camera for the 4th gen system. You have roof rails, but still you don't have a power moonroof on this one. You have some little bird or songbird accents kind of hidden throughout. Still no proximity key features because this has a physical key as well. But overall, pretty good. This badging on the side actually feels pretty substantial. It's not just like a silly little tacky sticker. It's actually like a badge, an emblem stuck in. The taillights look pretty good. Opening up the back, still no power liftgate on the base model, but for $31,000, can you blame it? This one of the options is the all-weather mat. Still no privacy shade with the back seats up. Again, you can see there's about 29 cubic feet of room is how they rate it back here. And it's actually pretty good. You can actually fit some pretty wide objects in here because it really includes a lot of the width of the vehicle, which these are about 6 feet wide. So it's a pretty nice opening. And then you still have just the temporary spare tire down here with some extra storage. So what are you guys gonna hide below? Comment that below this video in the description. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to pull down, but you'll notice that the hatch does lift maybe 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet above the height of the roof. So keep that in mind that it does open to probably about 7 feet tall. And overall, it's a pretty nice place to be. You're still gonna have just cloth seats in the base model, but cloth seats are comfortable. They're light, they're thin, so they really don't take up a lot of interior volume, and they're lightweight, they're easy to move. The base models, though, I've never found the strap to pull to recline them like the higher trim levels, but you'll notice one of the things Subaru's really good at for safety is for child safety seats. You have the hooks right here, easy to reach, easy to get to for a lot of child safety seats to lock into place. And even at 5'11", I have that much room in front of my knees. A little bit of storage, no fold down armrest, but overall, really good visibility, really nice big windows. And honestly, the materials on these new ones are nice. There's a lot of storage, there's a lot of space to stretch out, and I even have probably about that much room above my head from the back seat right here. But coming around to the front, another nice big window. No blind spot monitoring or anything on this one. You'll notice it does just have the little bit of a black spot that covers up where the nub would be if this did have blind spot. But the doors, they open big. It's easy to slide right into the driver's seat. It's cloth, it's comfortable, good enough bolstering. No power options, it's all manual. But it's a pretty nice place to be. You have the fuse box, not really any options, lighting stock. And overall, it's pretty cool. Actually, when you guys watch my full review of this, I actually think that this screen is better almost than the 11.6. It almost seems more responsive, and having the climate controls and some of the extra car options fixated down here or more stationary, they're not going to bounce around and move anywhere. I actually almost like this screen more. I just think it looks kind of silly that there's a dual screen instead of just having physical buttons throughout. But otherwise, non-charging pad, you're missing a plug-in. And overall, it's comfortable. It's easy to find a nice place to be, a nice place to sit. You even have a lifty tray in this one, which is pretty cool. It almost can hide a little bit of stuff down there, which I find kind of interesting. Huge windshield. The hood slopes down. Really good visibility in the Forester. And because they're only 15 feet long, you can see right down the center of the rear view mirror. So overall, pretty cool. But this is the base model. And it, again, is a little bit under $32,000 with the options that this has. Tons of safety features, tons of extra options. And if you do want to step it up to the premium, if you want to pay about $2,500 more, this is what you get. And what I find noticeably interesting when I reviewed both of these is the base model is surprisingly close to the premium, a little bit closer than the base model of the past. But that's kind of funny. But look, the same wheels, they still have 10/32 tread depth, the exact same 225/60/17 wheel and tire, which I like more than the 19s on the Sport. The 19s look really sharp, but I'd rather have a little bit more sidewall if you're asking for my opinion, because if you're going to take your Forester through the forest, a little bit more sidewall is just going to give you a little bit more protection for the wheel. But you'll notice from the base to the premium, you still have the roof rails, you still have the cladding, you still have the LED headlights, but now you have LED fog lights as well. Otherwise, the front fascia is about the same, no forward-facing camera. On this one, you still have the 4th gen eyesight system, but now you have a power moonroof, which is really big for a standard moonroof. It's not quite a panoramic like if it covered the other half of the front of the vehicle, but it does a pretty good job. You also have window tint on this one. You still have the symmetrical all-wheel drive badge over there, and then you have a slightly more painted side cap than you did, which the other one on the base is just a matte black. Overall, it looks really good. The cladding on the side and the bottom of the doors, it's all basically the exact same as the base model. If I didn't already mention it, you have tint back here. This one does not have the power liftgate, but you do have the pin code right there, so you can set a pin and get into and out of your Subaru without having the keys on you, because this one now has the proximity key. And I have a video on how to set that. It's pretty cool. But this one with the options, it does have the privacy shade, which again can be hidden down below here. You still have the rubberized mat and just a few more options and a little bit more grooves, and yeah, 12 volt. Still no incandescent or LED lighting on this trim level, but overall it's a pretty nice place to be. And the premium is the other trim level of the Forester that has cloth seats as its only option. Door panel, basically identical to the base model. The seats are still basically exactly the same. There might be some different color combinations. A lot of them do have black seats. Personally, I kind of like the lighter seats because it lightens up the interior. And you do have a fold down armrest on this one. You do have some ventilation and some plugins, but no heated seats on this. And then you have the dual mat pockets and the pamphlet holder for the backseat drivers over here. And if you do get to drive the new Forester Premium, door panel, basically the same. You have some blue Hobby Lobby stitching. You do have power seats, at least power seat for the driver, not the passenger, on this specific one with the options that this one has. Sorry guys, I know that's very reflective. Ooh, my camera doesn't want to work today. Anyways, this one just has a few options, but sitting inside here, it's a really nice place to be. It feels very much like a Forester. These honestly drive a little bit better than the old ones between the steering rack from the WRX, a modification from that. Physically, the wheels can only still turn as far in the wheel wells, so you still do a full circle in 35 feet, but it does feel like there's better turn-in, a little bit more responsive. Even though it's still power electric steering, you can't really feel a ton through it. The horn, high-pitched, it's loud, it does the job. And then you have the big 11.6-inch screen. And this one, wireless charger. You can see you have the extra plug-in right there. You no longer have the paddle shifters on the back of this leather-wrapped wheel, but basically the main changes between the base model and this one is you get the big power moonroof up top, which is huge. You get the leather-wrapped wheel. You get heated seats, which you can see in the display. You have a few more safety features, but ultimately it's just the creature comforts. Otherwise, it's a very similar vehicle to the base, but about $2,500 worth of options more. The speaker system is identical between the two because these vehicles are slightly better insulated than the outgoing ones. It sounds okay, it's not fantastic. Even the upgraded systems, they sound good, but they're not amazing. And now this is the Sport. This is the one that I have not driven yet, so we're gonna be kind of figuring this out together for the first time. But you'll notice the main differences for the Sport. There's a few safety features that are standard, like blind spot monitoring. You have some bronze accents around just below where the LED fog lights are. Still no forward-facing camera. This one is $38,000 after a little bit of a discount of about 600 bucks. It has turn signals on the mirror, a 19-inch wheel, which this tire, the Bridgestone, actually does have 10/32 at tread depth as well. So where these only weigh like 3,600 pounds, I'd imagine you could probably get 40,000 miles or more out of this. You'll notice though that the Sport has some sporty low roof rails. The big pano or half pano moonroof, again, the shark fin antenna. But check out those roof rails compared to the standard Subaru ones. A lot of other Subarus also have the raised roof rails. It's kind of the thing that Subarus do. They all have them. Until now, you can start to get the low ones. Even the big Ascents over there, they have the raised ones, but those are also 2024 model years. Anyways, when you're back here, this one should have the power liftgate as standard. It's also the only one that has the Sport badge, and you should be able to wave your foot underneath it to lower the hatch. I'll try that in just a second. But if you have the power liftgate, you can lower and lock the whole vehicle right there, or you can just lower the hatch and leave it unlocked right there. Otherwise, you still have the temporary spare tire under here. The factory Sport floor mats, because this does have the all-weather mat options. You have the HK subwoofer, some bag holds, still no lighting back there. That's kind of surprising in a 12 volt. And yep, there should be some lighting up here, LED, so that's kind of cool. A little bit of a Subaru graphic, privacy shade, and let's see if we can lower it. Yep, that's kind of cool. It's gonna beep at us, and it's gonna do its thing. Symmetrical all-wheel drive also is outlaid in bronze around this one, so that's kind of fun. The window tint looks pretty dark, especially on a very overcast day like today, which is also very windy. By the way, guys, I'm using a new mic I have for a few of the videos I've posted so far. I still have a bunch of old stuff on my membership program I'll release soon, just, you know, progressively over time. But let me know in the comments what you think of this new microphone and how the sound quality is on such a windy day like today. Anyways, this has StarTech seats. It has a brown trim piece or bronze trim piece. The door panels on this one feel substantially different than the other two, but they still feel like they're gonna hold up really well. Someone's been riding back here already, and it wasn't me to get that dirty this time. And then you can see you have the strap right here, so I'm gonna use my elbow to bring it down. That's about how far you can recline it. Pull the strap, and it pops back up. But when the seats reclined, and I hop back in at 5'11", look how much room I have behind whoever was driving this last. Tons of visibility, tons of natural light, and even when the back of this is darkly tinted, you know, it still is a really nice place to be. Still though, this isn't much of an upgrade over the premium, minus some of the materials and the safety features, so you're still not going to have too many more tech options on this one. This is the window sticker, and I will try to overlay a better version of that, because this one does have more options added on beyond the basic trim level than the other ones did. But when you're going to hop in the front and drive away in your Forester Sport, again, the door panel matches the rear. You have power seats again, a little bit of storage. Maybe you could hide something down there. Check that out underneath the seat rail. Anyways, everything looks basically the same. You still have the baby size Subaru. This seat is actually really far forward. I actually don't know if I can fit in here, but let's give it a try just for fun. Yep, definitely a lot closer than I would normally personally drive, but still, there's a lot of ways to get comfortable in here. The steering wheel also telescopes and moves around, so you can push it all the way back if you want. The Sport has the paddle shifters, Sport Sharp and Intelligent mode. Otherwise though, other than some different colors in here and the StarTech seats, it's basically the same thing as the premium, at least in my opinion. You do have the garage door openers, the compass, the auto dimming mirrors on this one, LED lighting. This is kind of like out of the Crosstrek, it slides. It doesn't extend off of the base rail holding it. LED lighting up there, some sunglass holder. You even have the swan bird right there. Pretty cool. Overall though, these new Foresters, I personally think maybe they look better than the old ones. I did not say that up until recently, but the more I've been around them, the more I'm kind of digging them. Sure, they look like the Ford Explorer, but they don't look as good on video as they do in person. I feel like this base model with the Horizon Blue Pearl actually looks really good in person. Hopefully you guys are detecting that on camera. I always love ice silver metallic. Well, these 5th gens, they do still look really good. You really don't have any more opening for air ventilation on the radiator than you do on these new ones, because a lot of that is just shut off for aerodynamics, I suppose. But in person, these new ones really are growing on me, especially the back, especially the symmetrical all-wheel drive badge and the rear. I thought that these taillights might look a little bit gimmicky before with kind of the road design in them, but the more I'm around them, the more I personally like them. And we actually have one coming. It's actually already here. We'll probably pick it up later today. So these are pretty cool. I do think they drive well, and I do think they're worth spending your money on. But I always recommend you test drive the competition, so check out all the other brands you might be interested in, and maybe some of the ones you aren't. Just make sure that you guys make the best decision for you. Remember, this dealership, I'm gonna link them below. They ship it right to you if you're interested. Otherwise, I wish you guys the best. Like this video if it was helpful in any way. Subscribe, comment your thoughts and opinions below. Hope to see you guys on the next one. And a few last little bits of information. If you've waited this long and you haven't seen my other Forester videos, then you definitely deserve this information. So, new eyesight system, new steering rack, steering responsive headlights. What else does it have? It also has the CVT from the last generation Forester Wilderness, which I don't see one of those around here to point out, but it basically has the transmission cooler and 8 simulated gear, so it's a better transmission. The engine is better because it doesn't have the electronic thermal control valve, which is potentially a failure point on the last generation, so it's a mechanical thermostat to better control the coolant flow. So basically, these ones, they're still built in Japan for this year. They have a few more reliability features for the engine and the transmission, and then they have a few more upgrades, but they do cost about $2,500 more than the old ones. And the old ones currently, if you can find one, you're likely to get a bigger discount, you know, like $1,000, maybe $2,000, $3,000 off almost on this one. So you gotta decide which one's the best for you. I hope this video is helpful. I wish you guys the best. Hope to see you again. See ya.